Metro News, welcome back. Joining us on the phone from Washington, D.C., Republican Congressman Barrett from the 3rd District of South Carolina. Congressman, good morning. Welcome to Talk Line here in West Virginia. How are you?
I'm doing great, Hoppy. I think this is my first time. I'm glad to be with you.
Well, you're new to Congress. I know you're, I think, Iraq War vet. Is that right?
Actually, I didn't serve in Iraq, but served 5.5 years, got out of the Army as a captain.
Graduated from the Citadel.
That's correct.
That's right. You ever read Pat Conroy's books about the Citadel?
No. Unfortunately, yeah. Some of it was kind of expounded on a little bit.
Yeah, right.
It had a little truth in there.
But I digress, Congressman. Listen, President Obama said last night that unless we pass this is going to be catastrophe, and he's going to make sure there's not going to be pork in here. Why aren't you on board?
Well, I think the president's an honorable man, but I don't quite agree with him on what he's saying there, Hoppy. I mean, this thing is loaded with pork, and it is the wrong way to attack this problem. I mean, what he's trying to do is jumpstart this economy by growing the government largesse, by growing government spending and increasing the economy that way. And I think you and I have a different philosophy that if we want to have short-term and long-term gains, we need to do it through the tax code and allowing people to keep their own hard-earned monies and grow the government, grow the economy through the private sector, not the government sector.
The Congressman, the president said last night concerning tax cuts, he said, well, we tried that for the last 8 years and it didn't work, and now the government has to step in and fix it.
Well, I mean, if you look at what happened in the 91 and the 93 tax cuts with the Bush administration, you will see that the revenues going into the government increased, even though because people, that entrepreneurial spirit was going on out there, Hoppy. I mean, you know, people had the money to buy a new truck, the incentive to buy a new truck, to hire a new employee to add on to their business. I was looking at a plan that the Republicans put forth in the House that dealt with the stimulus package versus what the Democrats did. In South Carolina alone, the job creation supposedly by the Democrat plan was about 54,000 jobs. By the Republican plan, which dealt with the things that I'm talking about, 88,000 jobs. In West Virginia, 21,000 for the Democrat, 35,000 for the Republican. And these are jobs. This is coming straight from Dr. Christine Romer's economic analysis to the House Republican substitute. So, you know, the numbers don't lie.
Congressman Barrett is with us from South Carolina, Republican congressman who voted against the stimulus package. What do you think is going to happen now? Because the Senate, well, it's going to pass its version today. And even though it's similar in number to the House version, I think the Senate's maybe 825, the House is maybe 819. It goes to a conference committee. For those such as yourself who believe there's too much government spending in here for things that are not stimulus, will there be a chance for the Republicans to change anything in this?
Well, I mean, theoretically, Hoppy, yes, but in actuality, no. From everything that I've heard, you know, as you well know, the Senate bill's about $7 billion more than the House, and from everything that I've heard over the weekend, that House members and Senate members, of course, both in the Democrat Party, have already sat down and tried to start hammering out the differences in the conference committee. But, you know, it will be a closed-door type of session where the Democrats in both chambers work out the differences, and the Republicans will have a chance to vote. And unfortunately, that's about it.
Congressman, you know, I was reading a little bit about you today, and I know that, for example, in your district, you want to get a restart on nuclear power production. And in West Virginia, you know, there are people who say we got to take advantage of coal and coal to liquid. The point being that everybody around the country has their own idea of what could be in the best interest of the country. So, you know, on one hand, we have Republicans saying, boy, this is too much money and this is the wrong direction. On the other hand, we have people such as yourself and others who say, yes, but we probably need some government money to do these things. So, you know, how do you have a... You see where I'm going with that?
Yeah. And you know, I don't know a single Republican, Hoppy, that hasn't said that government can do some things. But when we talked about, and the president talked about this very early on, he talked about shovel-ready projects, infrastructure projects. Well, the fact of the matter is, when I think of infrastructure, I think of water, sewer, roads, and bridges. things that I think the federal government, state and local governments need to be about the business of doing. Only about 5% of these monies are actually what I would call shovel-ready infrastructure projects. Now, if you want to help with the economy in certain areas like that, I think that's some things we can do. And when we talk about energy, and you touched on that subject, I've got a little county in my district, Hoppy, called Lawrence County. They just had an economic development announcement to the tune of about $150 million. It's the largest economic development package in Lawrence's history. It's a company from Brazil, believe it or not, that's coming into South Carolina. They were jumping off the roof that they were so happy. We've got 4 nuclear reactors on the drawing boards in South Carolina. One of those projects is a $10 billion project. When I think about economic stimulus and how to get this economy back on track, I think about thinking like a laser beam, as George Bush original said, focusing in on our energy needs, whether it's coal, whether it's nuclear, whether it's renewables or green energy.
Well, some of that stuff is in the plan, though. There's some green money in the plan. I mean, for those kinds. I don't know what's in there for nuclear, if anything. I think there's a little bit for.
Well, none of it is in there for nuclear. And again, there are some things that do make sense, but there again, is that actual stimulus, or is that things that need to be going through the actual appropriations process?
The president said last night, he said, it's a plan that is already supported by businesses representing almost every industry in America, by both the Chamber of Commerce and the AFL-CIO. Are you getting pressure in your home district from businesses or the Chamber or the labor leaders saying, look, Barrett, get on board here because we're going to get some money for whatever we want to do, therefore we want you to support it. How much heat are you getting on that?
Well, I haven't had any phone calls, to be honest.
Really? You get no phone calls that say support this, vote for this?
No. I mean, people understand that there is a difference, a major difference, Hoppy, between doing the right thing for the economy and helping jumpstart and growing the government largesse. And I think that, we don't give the American people enough credit for what's going on out there because they understand what pork is. It might not say pork or it might not have a specific line in there, but if it looks like pork and smells like pork, it's probably pork.
Congressman Gresham Barrett from the 3rd District of South Carolina. Good talking to you. We'll have you back. I appreciate it very much.
Thanks, Hoppy. Take care.
All right, take care. From the 3rd District of South Carolina on the CityNet data line. Coming up, we're going to talk with a Democratic congressman